We'll give you a quick rundown on the top standings. Gaugian leads, her total score 39.061. Dominique Dawes led throughout the first three apparatus, just to let it all slip through her fingers in the vault, her fourth and final performance to go into second position. Lilia Podkopaeva lies third, and Nadia Hatigan from the A division is still lying in fourth position. So that's a very creditable performance to the 15-year-old newcomer from the Romanian squad, as the last set of gymnasts move out of the hallway and into the main arena. Go Australia, go Australia. Their favourite Joanna Hughes will also be starting in this third and final subdivision.
This is a one-shot competition. Normally the top 36 gymnasts have already had a preliminary round in competition 2, but today all gymnasts from the 56 nations participating are represented. Every rotation is only permitted to put in one of their gymnasts should they have the full quota of 3, and the draw was made in February. So whilst it is an unseeded competition, when the draw was named, it was drawn by nations, so they can choose their better gymnasts for the final round, and I would suppose that this really is the best round.
So the scene is set for the finale, and there's one or two nervous faces. They have a mandatory warm-up session, which is 30 seconds per competitor. The starting list: Pisquin 309, one of the favourites from Belarus. Jamie Hill, also of Canada there, number 321. And we'll move down as the big guns will come in the second part of this starting list. Remember, 4 rotations in all 4 of the apparatus. Tatiana Lesenko of the Ukraine. Then Shannon Miller, number 399. Mo Hulan, one of the competitors that our expert in the box here, Monica Phelps, has noted, and if she can put the nerves behind her, has an opportunity of stealing it away from Shannon Miller, especially if Miller makes an error or two. We saw the defending world champion Vitaly Sherbo do that just yesterday, and the one also from Romania, Lavinia Milicevic. Also, well, listen for the huge cheers for Joanna Hughes, number 304. Every time she's about to take to the apparatus, you will hear this capacity crowd screaming for Joanna. The scene is set, a quick warm-up and a quick commercial break here on Eurosport, as we will be back live in just a few moments with the finale to this World Championship all-around competition.
Eurosport Live.
The warm-up and warming up on the beam. Well, there, number 361. Jae Hae-sung of Korea. The atmosphere really is electric, and after seeing yesterday's competition and a Subdivision B victory, the crowd, the television and the competitors now know that really anything goes, with some very impressive performances from the Subdivision A. Let's not forget Nadia Hatigan, the third member of the Romanian team, lying in 4th spot. So it really will be gripping, and, well, the atmosphere, Monica, a very nervous one out there.
Yes, indeed. I think it's an unfortunate draw for Milicevic, because she's on floor first, and Olympic order is vault, bars, beam, floor, and that's the order one generally trains in. And it's the culmination of atmosphere when the gymnasts get to floor. And she has got to try and cultivate her own atmosphere very, very early on in the competition. And what she scores on floor will be of great note to Shannon Miller, because that is where she really has to pip her at the post. Milicevic scored 10, Olympic champion on floor, and Shannon Miller, world champion, so they really have got a score to settle. So this really is a battle of the giants.
Joanna Hughes there, the Australian. She's also qualified for the floor final. And, well, whilst we've got a moment, a worthy note of thanks to our colleagues from Australian television, who really have done a wonderful job in providing good quality pictures. We're an awful long way away from Australia here in the Paris studios of Eurosport, and we really have enjoyed 4 days of wonderful sporting action from Brisbane in Queensland. And of course there's another 2 days to come at the weekend, with the individual apparatus finals to be decided, and another 4 golds and 6 6 for the men to be given away. A note for your diary, we start at 11:30 a.m. Saturday morning Central European time, an hour earlier for those of you viewing in the United Kingdom. And please note down our Sunday transmission time, 10 a.m. Central European time, with all the apparatus on an individual basis, medals to be awarded. A quick reminder, Gina Gosian leads for Romania. Her total score of the 4 apparatus added together, 39.061. The action is got underway on the beam by Dina Kochetkova of Russia, a finalist in the vault, bars and floor in the qualification. A good competition so far for Dina.
And a fine gymnast, but already the story will unfold. Despite her beauty and her leaps, she really does need the big difficulty, and there in her backward flight series, having only 1 somersault, but a beautiful full twisting backflip from standing position. Already seen a gymnast in the same idiom, Korkina, in rotation B, who was disappointed with her score. But Kochetkova just a little stronger in the legs. But so far, hardly a technical deduction. Beautifully extended legs, precise landings, no additional arm execution faults. Oh yes, and what a start. Well, she has thrown down the gauntlet to those to follow. Not a single error, not a big dismount, but beautiful gymnastics.
The best score we've seen throughout this all-around competition from the girls, 3.850 from Dominique Dawes, and the leader of the competition so far, well, her scoring was 9.762.
And the highest beam score, 9.837. So Kochetkova knows exactly what she has to beat. And the next performer, one of peculiar quality. She really has a style of her own, Mo Hulan from China. If she can nail things, she could frighten a few people on beam and asymmetric bars. But her temperament, very suspect, as with many of the Chinese.
So Kochetkova, the last of the 3 Russians competing, and Svetlana Chorkina, the best of their squad, lying in 5th position, and that's a healthy start. She goes second, Kochetkova, 9 point at, and is on target to upset a few. Well, this youngster also has the ability to mix it with the best. A new name, a star in the making, but very impressive in the qualification rounds. Mo Hulan from China, just 15 years of age. She's qualified for the final of the floor. This is her first performance of the all-around finale.
Beautiful one-arm straddle down to planche. And I just hope she sticks beam. Give her a good start and open up the possibility of the medalists. Flick split jump. That's her gym acro combination, one of the requirements. Aerial walkover. So far, a rather too staccato type routine. That's where she fell in the preliminary round, but now she really needs to get going on the combinations, because that's where she's going to lose marks. Concentration pause. Arab Spring layout. She's going well. She's got a flight combination to go. And that's the leap combination broken. And even though it's a tiny error, it's crucial when it comes to contesting the World Championship. Arab Spring flick double back, but missing was a flight series. And she broke the combination between her 2 large leaps. she had the Arab Spring straight.
We move over to the asymmetric bars for the first time in this rotation 1, and our first look at Tatiana Lesienko, bronze medalist in this competition a year ago in the Worlds in Birmingham in the United Kingdom.
Lesienko already appears a little out of contention. 2 or 3 large knee bends within the routine. But nice to see her continuing at top-level gymnastics, giving of her best.
And now 18 years of age, and it's quite interesting that whilst we had a break from the live action, Monica and I were talking about a lot of the gymnasts, the world stars now getting a lot taller, a lot bigger, and also quite a lot older than we're used to, possibly because of another World Championships to come in '95, and possibly hoping to maintain form for the Olympic Games in '96 and Atlanta. And Tatiana Lesienko, certainly a much bigger gymnast than a year ago in Birmingham.
Yes, she is a woman, and I must admit that it's nice to see women in gymnastics, not just the pre-pubescent girls, because otherwise it comes across as totally a little girl's sport. 9.612, the leap combination for Mo really did cause her to lose a 2/10 penalty on that. It could have been a 9.8.
Martina Kurachikova of Slovakia next to perform. And our first opportunity to look at the vault in this third and final subdivision.
And the legs were meant to be bent, but they were also meant to be together. That is known as a pucked position. Very much easier to twist and somersault in that position, but obviously it's because the gymnast can't achieve the skill with straight legs. That's the Yurchenko full twist in the pucked position. But very, very wild with the legs, and she really has thrown herself open to lots of penalties.
Well, the bronze medalist of a year ago finds herself struggling very early on, 9.450. 17th position, and she'll need some very special performances in her last 3 apparatus if she's to finish anywhere near a medal position with that starter for Lesienko. Kurachikova with her second vault, the average of the two becoming the final score.
There, the vault number 4304, telling you that it's a Yurchenko, 1.5 somersaults, 1.5 twists. Maximum score on that category vault is 9.7, but she's got a few penalties to be taken from that for untidy legs. Plenty of opportunity to analyze these vaults. Hope we have the same when it comes to the better gymnasts later in the program.
21st position for Kurachikova of Slovakia. Piskun.
Oh yes, double twisting Yurchenko. Piskun, individual silver medalist in the World Championships '93 in Birmingham, and a real little powerhouse. Lots of aggression and lots of qualities. A little bit under twisted, but a big vault. 10 tariff. 9.693 average. That must have been a second vault.
That puts Piskun into 6th position. Gina Gosian still leading, But this is the number 1 Romanian, Lavinia Milicevic, now 17 years of age, from Orsova. She's been a world individual champion in almost every apparatus within this competition, but only managed to finish 8th in Birmingham a year ago in the all-around. She's looked very good in the qualification for the individual apparatus, but this now, the first routine of the morning for Milicevic, really is vital.
Double layout. Remember, Milicevic scored 10 in the 92 Barcelona Olympics, but since then, the code of points, that's the new rule, Luke, has been updated, and it's improbable that we'll see a 10 at these World Championships. Not impossible, but improbable. A long pause in the corner. Flick whip. 2.5 twisting punch front. Good tumble combination. And I must say, excellent musical interpretation and suitable to Lavinia Milicevic type of work. She's not the classical ballerina type gymnast. All have their different qualities. Triple twist. And I must say, a very, very tidy routine. Lavinia Milicevic has obviously worked on mastering the tumbles, making them tidy, getting the legs together, straightening the legs. Much tidier than even the routine where she got 10 in the Olympics. Now a closer look at some of the tumble combinations. There, the double layout, and that's a big tumble for a girl. She's showing lots of variety. There's the flick, whip, and a flick-flack 2.5 twist, punch front. A little jump back, not really perfectly still on the landings. Now the highest score was from Dominique Dawes so far. She's got a 9.8 to beat, a wee bit suspect on the coming in to the floor on that triple twist.
Well, Lavinia Milicevic goes into second position, 9.812, which is the best point score we've seen for the floor so far, but putting that against the other scores within this C subdivision is not good enough for first position. Well, we go back to the high bar competition, the A bars competition, I should say.
Correcto on bars. Just finishing there with a double front. Correcto, one of the Greek performers, and we really have seen a raise in their standard. They really have burst onto the international scene in the last couple of years. This, the final skill. Double front away leads to all kinds of moves in the future. A wise selection of elements.
Well, it's been a good competition for the Greek team so far, with Labrina Apostolidou lying in 12th position after her performance from Subdivision B. And now the third member of the Greek team, Virginia Garzenzo, goes into 15th, 9.512, another very good score. And one starts to feel that Greece is finding form and depth. But this is the lady that we've all been waiting patiently to see in this first rotation of 4. The defending world champion, Shannon Miller of the United States of America, 17-year-old from Edmond in Oklahoma, coached by Steve Nuno and Peggy Liddick. Her first apparatus of the afternoon, the asymmetric bars.
Shaposhnikova with half twist from bottom to top bar. Giant jump full pirouette, beautifully executed Ginger from the giant full pirouette. 1.5 twist, back straddle to handstand. going well. Steve Nuno's presence means Akachev into the dismount. Double layout, yes, and that is a much better routine. Steve Nuno in the background, raising his fists up in the air in delight, because she looked slack on bars in competition 3. Yes, Steve's really pleased. Prepared this kid from the age of 8. They have a great relationship. Always thought she was something special. But that is a better Miller than we saw in the qualifying round of competition 3. Knees were tighter, swung on the bars easily, looked relaxed and nailed the landing.
Well, of course, Shannon Miller is not in unfamiliar territory. She battled it out with Lavinia Milicevic in the Olympic Games, and Miller got the better of the Romanian there to claim the silver, Milicevic having to settle for the bronze in the all-around competition. We've seen Dominique Dawes in Subdivision B lead all the way until the last piece of apparatus, but for Shannon Miller, that was the start that she needed, and that was the score that she needed. 9.850. The defending world champion is on target for a second successive world championship gold, as we switch now to the local favourite, Joanna Hughes, number 304. She starts with the beam and very pleased with her qualification to the individual finals in the floor.
And Joanna hasn't got a world-beating routine on beam, but she is not in the competition hoping to get into the medals. She's hoping for a personal best. She's putting Australia on the map of gymnastics, continuing the good work that the Australian team carried on at the Olympics and the World Championships. The most improved nation. Good front mount, very bold. Confident girl. Change leg split leap to split jump. Detected a very slight imbalance, well disguised. 1 minute and 30 seconds the girls have got to demonstrate their skills. Concentration, pause, and then flick, layout, flick. Oh, and she's off. What a shame, running front somersault. And once the takeoff has taken place, you cannot design the landing. The landing is dictated by the takeoff. Often the fall causes the heart rate to lift and panic sets in, and it's controlling that panic. And she really is doing well. Thinking about the future of the routine, not the fall. Dismount, important to land it well. She wants to rank as high as she can in the world. Yes, good. What a brilliant end after that fall.
Super recovery there from young Joanna Hughes, 19th in the World Championships of 1991, a much more mature and stronger gymnast since the World Championships of Indianapolis. And sad to see her come off, but as Monica pointed out, what a wonderful recovery.
It was really brilliant. Because today we have 91 gymnasts, and at the end of that a ranking list will be set out, and it's very important. See, she was square on, but she had her arms waving around and very difficult to control. But what a landing.
Well, hopefully Joanna Hughes will be rewarded by the judges for the regathering of her composure after making that little error and coming off the beam halfway through her routine. Well, her score in those World Championships on beam was 9.587 and 9.100, 34th position. So, well, let's hope that that will motivate her even further to dig in deep and pull something special out in her next 3 apparatus. Rufina Krivich of Germany, a young 15-year-old born in Russia, but her mother married a German and now chooses to represent Germany. She's been living there for 2 years, and an interesting note, sponsored by Cologne Airport.
Nice. Oh, she hesitated there. Didn't quite mix the hand change very well. Panicked and split her legs. Oh, an extra swing. That's costly. Didn't quite get out of the kip into the squat on. 3/10 for that. Double back layout. Under-rotated, had to bend her legs. But in the competition, very much for experience. That doesn't mean to say that the mistakes are acceptable. But I'm sure that in the gym, she trains that routine without a hiccup. And it just shows what pressure does. This is only the first piece. And let's hope she has got the nerves out of her system. This is a wise rule. Coach is allowed on the podium to spot in the interest of the safety of the gymnast.
Well, Rufina possibly a little overawed by the occasion. 8.30050, fifth position. So again, hopefully the butterflies will disappear and she too will be able to focus on better quality performances in her next 3 pieces of apparatus. Shannon Miller is on target to successfully defend her world title. Leads after the first rotation in this women's all-around competition. And one has to say, Dominique Dawes was in the same position, and Vitaly Sherbo yesterday. So the pressure tends to build as the final apparatus come, but so far, so good. And in her challenge to keep Gina Gogien at bay, who came into this third and final part of the competition as the leader for Romania, she is so far on target. She will need to score a better overall scoring than she did a year ago in Birmingham, as Gina Gogien is just a thousandth off a point off the 93 scoring of Shannon Miller. Very close. It's early days in subdivision C, but well, no nerves, Monica. I was quite impressed with Miller's first performance.
Yes, very impressive, very impressive. But it's interesting to note that Lavinia Milicevic will be finishing her competition on beam, and that really is a pressure because so many competitions are won and lost.
So how about that? Joint first position after the first round, bearing in mind that Gogien comes much stronger in the second and third rotation. Shannon Miller and Dominique Dawes, Milicevic of Romania, Kochetkova of Russia, and Podkopaeva of the Ukraine, with Gogien with much better scores to come in the next 3 apparatus. Shannon Miller is on target. Disappointment for Mo of China, now down in 10th position. The brackets mean they are competitors from the A or the B division. Well, the competition is off. The first rotation is down. There are 3 to come. We'll take a quick commercial break and we'll be back with rotation 2 and more action from the women in their all-around competition.
Ladies and gentlemen, gymnast number 320.
Joanna Hughes, number 304 for Australia. Well, each of the gymnasts is given around about 30 seconds to have a quick warm-up on their next piece of apparatus. And the floor exercise, well, we'll be seeing Mo Hulan of China and Joanna Hughes, Kochetkova in the top 6 elite, where, well, Shannon Miller will be watching out for Shannon in the beam exercise. The pressure, I certainly feel, apparatus of them all. Lavinia Milicevic, she takes vault, and it's after this second piece of apparatus that the butterflies will be settled, and we'll have a very good indication who is on target for the medals of this all-around competition.
Yes, and we really do have to thank, I must echo what you said earlier about the Australian producers. The liaison between the Gymnastic Federation and the television company is excellent, because for a long time we haven't had such good coverage of a world championship. The cameramen are in the right time at the right place. They don't over-patronize their own performers, and they do follow the competition. It's quite obvious that an awful lot of research has gone into the sport itself. It's not easy to try and anticipate the flow of the competition.
And of course, this is the first of all the major gymnastics competitions that you will be seeing on Eurosport this summer. We have the men's and women's individual European Championships, and that of course will be the next coverage of major gymnastics, live and exclusive to Eurosport, and also the Team World Championships in Dortmund in Germany coming up towards the end of September. So if you're a gymnastics fan, well, stay with Eurosport throughout the summer, because we will be bringing you each and every competition live. Myself, Nick Fellows, and Monica Phelps, hopefully making it just a little more entertaining for you. And there, Monica has just pointed out on the screen that disaster seems to have struck Joanna Hughes whilst warming up. There you can see her, a few tears, holding the ankle. She seemed to have gone over whilst landing a tumble and a warm-up, and that looks to be disaster for the youngster from Australia. Automatically and immediately the ice bag is there. But that really is very sad, Monica.
Yes, and it looks awful. And I've had a similar injury to that, a subtalar dislocation. And by the position of her foot, it does look as though she'll be out. I mean, I hope she's not. She may just have panicked. But the fall to the floor was so spontaneous. She didn't get up and walk away. She landed at the end of the tumble, dropped down and stayed there. And I'm afraid it looks as though she may well be out. And that would be terrible.
Well, Monica, a quick update on the rulings. Would Australia be allowed to put in a reserve now, or Hughes has entered one apparatus, which means their challenge in Subdivision C comes to an end?
Their challenge in Subdivision C, they can't, no. They can't put in somebody now. The competition's already underway.
Well, that's very sad for Joanna Hughes, who's lying in 21st position, but her more favoured apparatus were to come, including this exercise, the floor, because this is the apparatus that the young Australian has qualified for in the individual apparatus finals. So it really will be a disaster. We'll keep you informed on Joanna's progress as we move to the beam, and Tatiana Lysenko, the bronze medalist of the World Championships of Artistic Gymnastics just a year ago.
And the Olympic champion on this piece of apparatus. And many viewers will probably look and say, oh, she's a hefty girl, but no, she's a very, very shapely young lady. It's really difficult to judge the size of these gymnasts on television, because somebody like Shannon Miller is so diminutive. But Natalia Yurchenko is a very normal, shapely young lady, probably only about 5 feet 1 tall and in a size 8 jeans, so she's quite slender. Just makes us dread to think what we'd all look like in leotards. But with the team championships being held later this year in Dortmund, as many of the female gymnasts as possible want to be blooded onto the international circuit in the 94 season. Oh, and she tried very, very hard to save that landing. Would have been 4/10 for the run, but 5/10 for the fall.
And Tatiana Lysenko, now 18 years of age, she's had a very pleasing and consistent career, 7th in the Olympic Games of Barcelona. That's disappointing for Tatiana. Mo Huilan, the floor exercise, and one of the most entertaining floor routines that we saw in the qualification over the past 2 days for the individual apparatus.
And one of the few times I've seen her smile. It's a delight to see her happy. Most of the time she looks so stressed. But it's cute without being babyish. And even though the movements are staccato, they are artistic. It's not just flinging of the arms. Oh, beautiful tumbling. Should have had a punch front on the end. That's why the weight was there. Handspring, 1.5 twist, full twisting, split jump into split jump. And that a lot harder than it looks. Great musical interpretation. The final tumble, very important. I believe she does a front tumble, handspring, full twisting front. No. Another full in, back out. Great. I really would like to see her not necessarily get into the medals, but just get through 4 pieces without making any major mistakes. She's made a little mistake on beam, but we can forgive her for that.
And Monica, we've spent many a floor routine discussing choice of music in relation to the gymnast's personality, size and style. And for me, this is the perfect choice of music.
Oh yes, it might be from junior choice, but it's the right choice.
Well, Mo Huilan, from the famous for some good and some bad Shisha High School, where they really do work the youngsters there very, very hard indeed, under the guidance of Zhou Gongpu, the coach who's with the Chinese delegation here in Brisbane, Australia. And I can assure you that it is very pleasurable to see Mo smiling as they work so hard. 9.725, 7th position. She's maintaining her top 10 placing, but still not hitting at the top 3. Lysenko shakes her head, now 18th position, 9.162, and possibly the 18-year-old seeing her last World Championship competition here. And, well, the truth hurts, Monica.
Oh, it does, and it's so very sad, because Lysenko has been such a great ambassador to gymnastics throughout the world. And she got through the routine, and she just, her knees caved in on her, and there was nothing she could do about it. And, you know, her tears are really sadness and self-annoyance, because she's probably landed the wretched landing so many times in training.
Well, we return to the competition, and looking to keep Romania amongst the medals is Lavinia Milicevic. She has now 2 vaults to perform. She has been a world champion in the individual competition of this piece of apparatus, and this is vital if Milicevic is to maintain the pressure on the world all-around defending champion Shannon Miller from the USA.
And Milicevic is so focused when she wants to be. She really is. She puts me very much in mind of the Russian gymnast. I can't remember her name now. It'll come to me in a moment. But she really is focused. She knows exactly what she sets out to do. And she even had the arms in line on the half twist, blind landing, but it was great. Yurchenko. And lovely 1.5 with half twist. And I think that the beauty of that vault could only be appreciated in real life. I don't think that television does it justice.
Well, Shannon Miller of the United States of America pushed Milicevic into bronze medal position in the 1992 Olympics in Barcelona, and Milicevic is bang on target for a sweet revenge here. The second vault is very important, as the final score is the average of the 2.
She obviously doesn't have any problem on vault, not like Dominic Dawes, where it's her Achilles heel. But Milicevic now, she mustn't be content with that. She's got to do one equal, if not better, to that. Still, no, not as good as the first, and she could have really done with that. She wants to accumulate every 100th, 10th of a point she can.
We've seen no better than 9.737 for the aggregate scoring for the 2 vaults in the competition so far. Gina Gojin of Romania. And Milicevic, well, that's where the points will be deducted. The penalty will come.
And by the sigh in the crowd, I think that somebody has come a crop on one piece of apparatus. But there, the Yurchenko. And as I said, probably not appreciated on television.
This is a very important score that we now await for Lavinia, a 9.8 and above. And Milicevic will go into first position, and first position at a canny time, 9.812. Second, not quite enough, and as Monica Phelps pointed out, that second vault of 9.800 letting her down, but halfway point for Milicevic. She's lying in silver medal position, and with the pressure still on Shannon Miller as defending champion, anything could still happen. Belarusia, Yelena Pyskin, asymmetric bars.
And we're looking at this on tape. The producer has stored some of the better routines. That's a lovely Delchev. Very similar to the Jaeger, but a half twist into the element. Hop change, losing tension bodily on the top of the bar. Another full twisting giant. This went on while Mo was on floor.
7th position for Yelena in the all-around competition. Belarus still celebrating their gold and bronze medal in the men's all-around competition.
Just take for granted, get complacent about the quality and the strength of these girls. I know my ladies, when they come into my gym and hang on the bar and their wedding ring nearly amputates their finger, they realize just how much strength these kids have got.
Yelena's score, 7th position, 9.662, so she's at about the same position as she was a year ago in Birmingham in the United Kingdom. Well, we return to Virginia Carenzo of Greece, who really are enjoying their championships here in Australia. And the Greek team goes from strength to strength and could be one of the outsiders to watch out for in the World Team competition in Dortmund in September.
I think they're wiser than that. I think when the millennium is being held, they want to think that they can get a medal.
Well, it really would be wonderful to see Greece claim a medal. And who's to say they cannot after the performances that we've seen from this youngster on your screens and her teammate, Lambrini Apostolido. And they're both 15 years of age, so it's not as if they're reaching the end. They're just starting to reach their best part of their gymnastic careers.
Tucked Corbett mount from the Arab Spring. Doing well all around in gymnastics. It really is nice to see new federations appear. Melisandis from Greece took the first ever gymnastic gold medal in the Junior European last year, and so now it's the girls' turn to try and equal that. And solid throughout. Just the double back being prepared and prepared and prepared. She's just got to whip a full twist in there. Sounds very easy, but she's probably training it into the pit.
Well, I must make a quick apology to the organisers of the Dortmund World Gymnastic Team Championships. The 15th to the 20th of November are the dates, not September, before the phones start ringing at the Paris office here at Eurosport. And Greece certainly looking strong and one of the exciting and young developing nations within the FIG family. And she's chasing her teammate who was lying in 12th position at the end of the subdivision B and A contest. And that was Lambrini Apostolido. Now, the nation supposedly saving their best performer till the third and final subdivision.
But the Greeks really are 9-5 there. Good score, because she's got quite a lot of difficulty that is to be put in. But now Shannon Miller just giving herself a little mental talk. Keep cool, you know what you've got to do. And nobody knows better. This, the greatest pressure of her life. It's one thing winning the World Championship. It's a totally different matter keeping it. Change leg, split leap into Shannon. They're a perfect example on the accumulation of scores, because she had so many moves linked together. Flick layout, layout. Dawes had 3. Technically, Shannon's flick-flack takeoff is very poor. She sits very deeply and lifts the heels away from the beam. But the end result is more than satisfactory. But not a technique that we would encourage. Dismount, full in, back out, and she nailed it. Well, judges, what do you think it's worth?
9.837, the best score we've seen so far on the beam in this competition. Lilia Podkopaeva, Shannon Miller, 5 World Championship medals in her career, and with performances like that, she's on target for medal number 6. The question is, can she successfully defend the gold she won a year ago in Birmingham? And here, a real test of pressure, and she's risen to the occasion.
Yes, apart from the little technical deduction which they could take on the flick-flack preparation, on the full spin, that's a 360-degree turn on one leg, she had a little arm correction, which she'd lose 0.54. Bent arms in the flick, which they could deduct 0.54, but there's not a lot to take off there. Tiny little jump on the landing.
And first position, 9.862, Shannon Miller starts to extend her lead now, similar to that of Dominique Dawes in Subdivision B, but Miller looking a little more composed, a little stronger, and listening intensely there to the words from her coach. Well, we move back to the vault. Miura of Japan, 9.562, her first vault score.
And obviously her first vault would have been better than that, otherwise it wouldn't have been as high as 9.562. But it's a pity, because off the top of the apparatus it was excellent. She had a jolly good lift and a lovely shape. Extended the legs out in front of her and didn't quite time it into the floor. Anticipated the floor, bent her knees a fraction before hitting it. 9.4 for the second vault, lowering her average down to 9.481.
26th position, the best of the Japanese. Kosugi, she was lying in 16th position, will drop down a little but still maintains her top 20 placing. Shannon Miller is looking very strong indeed, but Monica, I have to say, so did Dominique Dawes till she came to the vault, her 4th and final apparatus.
Yes, but Dominique Dawes does have an inherent weakness in her competition, and that is vault. I mean, that manifested itself in 1983. And whilst it's not advertised, and fortunately for her, the luck of the draw took her on vault last, all the rivals, they all know she's got a weakness. Now, Miller really hasn't got a huge weakness.
Dina Kochetkova lying in 2nd position. Well, she's had that spot taken away from her from Lavinia Milicevic of Romania. But, well, another young star that certainly has the ability. She's making a very impressive performance and debut for the Russian squad.
And the competition on floor really could heat up, because here we have a superb tumbler. Dina Kochetkova from Russia, and she hasn't been put in this competition for experience. She's in with a hope of a medal. Handspring full twisting front, straight front. The posture and the general elegance around the neck and shoulder level of the Russian gymnasts is absolutely superior to any other gymnast. They may not have the difficulty of dance and they may not have the difficulty of tumble, but the basic posture is superb. Full twisting double back. Well, I don't think she stands a chance of getting gold or silver, but she's in with a shout of squeezing into the bronze medal position. She's certainly a world-class gymnast already.
Well, this third subdivision somewhat marred by one or two nasty accidents. The latest news on Joanna Hughes of Australia: she's been carried out of the stadium with quite a severe ankle injury, and we'll keep you informed whether she'll be able to return for her individual apparatus final. And even sadder news for Letícia Ichi of Brazil. Took a very nasty fall in the beam and she has been stretchered out. And Monica, well, a very dangerous sport, albeit very skillful. And it was the bars, I do apologise, the bars, the asymmetric bars where Letícia Ichi has crashed out. Dina Kochikova, fourth position, 9.800, and that keeps her well within that battle for the bronze medal. Gold and silver, well, it seems to be going the way of Shannon Miller and Lavinia Milicevic, but that bronze medal, like we saw in the men's all-around competition, is being very closely contended for indeed. Sad news for Brazil, sad news for Australia, but in the competition itself, still on target for her second successive World Championship gold medal is Shannon Miller. Lavinia Milicevic is chasing as best she can, but as Monica Phelps, our expert in the commentary box here, pointed out, possibly not receiving the luckiest of draws for this subdivision C, the third and final subdivision of the day. Well, Podkapayeva and Gauguin, Dominique Dawes are all waiting in the seated arena just around the edge of the apparatus to see where they will place in the overall competition. Also, Nadia Hattigan making her World Championship debut, coming into fourth position. Miller still holds on to top position. Dawes is second, but that will change as they take to the vault in the fourth rotation. Milicevic for Kochikova. Is for Milicevic 3, Korkina is 5, Gauguin 6, Podkopayeva and Hattigan. So there are just 3 girls from subdivision C separating the top 8, which really does show the quality of that subdivision B. But Shannon Miller is on target. Pizkun disappointing so far, down in 9th position. Andrea Molnar of Hungary, she has to settle for 15th spot. Stay with us, a short commercial break coming, but we'll be back with more action and of course to see whether Miller can retain her world title. Slovakia and the Czech Republic both represented here at the 29th World Championships, and it will be Martina's privilege to get rotation number 3 underway.
And it'll be to her great delight that she gets it out of the way. Nerve-wracking piece of apparatus, and I don't know how she can possibly work with that ponytail flapping around. I always thinks it makes the gymnast look rather untidy without the hair well tied back. Kochikova had a reasonable start on vault. Probably suffering a wee bit in the fitness department, but certainly not short of skills. And she's certainly a good competitor. But we are not close enough to see the thighs really shaking. so often I've watched gymnasts work at close quarters, and it's amazing that the nervous vibration going on through their thighs constantly through the routine, where they just cannot control that flow of adrenaline. Kucharchikova, one major crisis there, where she had a large wobble, and she'd most definitely lose between 2 and 3 tenths for that. But like so many gymnasts, out for a personal best. And this a one-shot competition. Even the big guns can't expect another run through. It's what they do today. And then at the end of today, there'll be a world ranking list.
Martina Kucharikova awaits her score. To remind you, all of the 4 apparatus scores are added together. The total scoring and the highest scoring giving us the medal winner of the day, unlike the individual apparatus competition, which we've been focusing on of the qualification over the past 2 days. 23rd position, 9.100. She sees herself drop a little. Lavinia Milicevic, this is a very, very important piece of apparatus for the Romanian. 17 years of age. Never better than 7th position in a world championship, but of course the bronze medalist in Barcelona in the all-around competition. She needs something special now if she's to put the pressure on the American girls, lying in 1st and 2nd position after 3 apparatus.
Similar mount to Miller, but without the half turn. Cast a handstand half turn. Blind change. Ginger. Undershoot, but not to handstand. Bent legs off the bottom bar. Trying to highlight differences that I see between she and Miller. Full pirouette, not as good as Miller's. Katchev, Miller didn't have one. Blind change. And dismount, not as good as Miller's. Well, in my book, Miller's still on top form. I think that Milisevic's routine was not as good as she can do it, and she knows it. And it's the main emotion that these top gymnasts feel isn't sadness, it's annoyance, because they know they have done better, and under pressure they're affected. But that was not, by Milisevic's standard, a good routine. I know the judges will dictate the terms, but it's not a matter of opinion, it's a matter of fact that Miller was better. Straddle up there, moving to the middle of the bars, the Ginger. That should have gone to handstand and it didn't, or could have gone to handstand and it didn't. Having to centralize herself on the bars. Little bent arms there, jump over to the center of the bars again. There, the blind change. Now up to the dismount, double front, and over-rotated. So, in comparison, it should be a 10th lower, and it is.
9.775. Lavinia Milicevic stays on track for a silver medal, but it's not the gold, and it's not the revenge that she wants so badly on Shannon Miller, who is still to perform in this 3rd rotation. Miller will be competing on the floor. Milicevic, very experienced, this her 3rd all-around championships where she's been placed in the top 15, but she'll need to find something special on her 4th rotation if she's to challenge for the gold. Greece once again. And it's been pleasing to follow this youngster, Virginia Carenzo, 3.42. And we will stay with the floor because following Virginia will be the leader, Shannon Miller. Carenzo to the floor, her 3rd of the 4 rotations in this last subdivision of the women's all-around competition.
And I think there was a little bit of a head-to-head between Joanna Hughes and Carenzo, but unfortunately Joanna Hughes is injured. But it's nice to have, this is very good television production because it gives you competitions within competitions. Pulling back, oh, that was a bad landing. thought that was going to be another ankle injury. In competition 2, these gymnasts are expected to produce one value of A element, 2 of B, 2 C's, and then 1 of D. An extra D would give them a bonus, and then they can go into the E category. They're a 6/10 bonus, and it's basically between these bonus points that the big guns have the arguments. And that's where Miller went ahead on the E elements and the combinations. They're a good floor, but again, we're talking about basically the second division of gymnastics. She's just at the top of the second division, really needing some bigger skills with experience. Not quite coping with that full twisting double back. Although she did in warm-up, it depended on the takeoff. And that a difficult tumble, especially midway towards the end of the routine.
We go back to the Korean, Ji Hae-sung.
Korean women not in the same class as the Korean men on vault. Plenty of aggression and attack, but aerially not a good shape. Needed more extension out of the handspring, 1.5 to get the twist correct. And untidy on the landings. Landing penalties, hard for the girls. 9.481, her average score.
This is the one that we've all been waiting to see. The pressure now. Her third of 4 rotations. Shannon Miller leads. Can afford no mistakes.
And I think a word for everybody, just watch the landings from her tumbles, because everything else is so well executed. It's going to be right down to the wobbles on the floor. Every little gesture and every arm action really is so accurate. Not too long a wait in the corner. Handspring, Rudy, flick, straight to one leg. Stable, nice change of tempo here. So well rehearsed. Ooh, that was a bit of a struggle, but to pick up extra bonus points. Well, the middle tumble, if we were to nitpick and compare, she did have a mini crisis across the floor on the full twisting front into tuck front combination. But no more than she normally does. Up till then, it was practically word perfect. But Milicevic had several, if not more, crises, but it'll be interesting to note the score between Shannon Miller and Dawes on the floor. There, the first run. A good step back on the landing, but no more than Dawes does on the front landings, and no more than Milicevic did. Handspring, full 1.5 twisting front, flick layout. There, the middle run, and we should get a close look at the last run. This is the handspring series. Handspring, full twisting, fly spring, ooh, and she did struggle. She under-rotated the fly spring and had to stick her hips backwards to get to feet on the front somersault.
Well, Shannon Miller there really does demonstrate the grace of the ballerina, amazing strength in the tumbles, and she's rewarded not the best score we've seen in the floor, but 9.750. Maintains Shannon Miller's quest. She stays in first position after 3 apparatus, and she will have just one final challenge to go.
But I do think that was a fair mark, because she lost out on the last tumble, and she wouldn't like it, and nobody else would like it if marks were thrown at her. She wants to earn every mark, and she'll know that it wasn't deserving of any more than that. Andrea Mulnar from Hungary. Henry Arnoti's schoolmate and college mate and best friend. Coming from Delchev to undershoot. Full twisting giant into Kachev. And full in, back out. That is a tremendous improvement on Andrea Mulnar from last year. She really has got a lot more skills together. And she looks, doesn't look unlike Henrietta in her body language. She's a lot larger girl. But it's amazing how friends and husbands and wives, they say, can grow to look like each other, don't they?
Well, she's got an impressive record, Andrea Mulnar, 11th last year in the World Championships, 15th in the Olympic Games. The 18-year-old from Budapest certainly enjoying her asymmetric bars routine there.
She's having to work towards the end of the routine to keep the flow going. You can see by the softness in her middle to increase the swing of her heels, and the slight arm bends and body bends on the top of the apparatus. It's only in slow motion where people who don't understand the sport can see these. But it's nice to show gymnastics in such detail, because by people understanding the sport, we can get more fans.
Andrea moves up into the top 15, goes into 12th position. Well, we now go to the vault, and Mo Huilan of China.
We've unfortunately missed Dina Kochetkova on vault, because it would have been nice to see where she ranked, a super vault, and I think that she could have come up into 3rd place.
Mo Huilan found herself in the top 6 early on in the competition, but has now dropped down into the 2nd group, lying in 12th position.
I can remember this sight very distinctly. A little girl called Olga Bichirova running towards the horse, and she was actually in full view underneath the horse in 1981 World Championships, and she looked so tiny I thought she was going to run underneath it. And now she's with our Eurosport team, giving the French some of her words of wisdom as a colour commentator, and it's a great pleasure to be associated with her and the commentary team.
Well, trying best to keep her composure, focusing on the vault, but still, and there is the indication from the judges. First of the 2 vaults for Mo Huilan of China.
Handspring 1.5 piked somersault, biryani out. That's biryani, that's not an Indian dinner, biryani. Biryani is the technical term for a half twist, and the maximum score she can pick up on that vault is 9.9. But for a tiny girl, that's a mighty vault. I've got to believe how small she is. She probably doesn't stand. I can't see her walk directly next to the horse, but she's got to be about 4 feet 8, 4 feet 9. The Chinese are a small race anyway, and they go around looking for the smallest of the small. I know when I was in Korea commentating, they had to ship in a whole new set of beds for Western people because they didn't have beds long enough for the leggy people. That's a good vault. Not in the 10 tariff bracket, 9.9, but it was a really well executed vault. And she's looking much happier with herself. Her whole face is lightened up, you know. It's nice to see her enjoy it.
Well, maybe now's the time to inform our Eurosport viewers. We were able to view a tape of some of the youngsters from China training at the Xisha High School. And, well, some quite harrowing scenes, I have to say. The amount of work and the hours of training that 5- and 6-year-olds were putting in really did bring a tear to my eye. And it is very, very pleasing indeed to see Mo Huilan enjoying her competition, because there is an amazing amount of pressure on these youngsters, and they really do have a very tough lifestyle in their quest to the top of the sport of gymnastics. She goes into 9th position, so she pulls herself back into the top 10 with 2 consistent vaults, and she will look forward to her 4th and final rotation and piece of apparatus to hopefully improve on that score, on that total score once again.
Yes, everybody has their own views about sport and their own views about their own children, but I think that when the choice is actually taken away from the individual and they only have one life and their whole life is gymnastics, I think it's a very hard choice to be taken away, because their schooling is not as important as their gymnastics, and their social life isn't as important. And it's okay if at the end of the day they come away with gold medals, but unfortunately they don't always. And if they have an injury, what else do they have in life? It's quite a debatable subject, very interesting.
And it's one that we could debate for some time here on Eurosport, but there's 3 World Championship medals to be decided for this competition in the all-around event, and Jelena Piskin of Belarus is not out of that chase for the bronze.
That's a bold mount. Didn't quite come off. There was a wee pause, but a front somersault to land on one leg straight into the jump, called a seesaw jump. And another gym acro combination. It's a tuck pike jump, rather like a knot in a string with the leg protruding into the full twisting courbet or the roof over. Change leg split leap into a jump. The large leap series again, one of the elements, and that single spin that creates so many problems. Flick to 2 feet, full twisting back, brilliant. Now that is where she fell off in the preliminary round for competition 3. But that is some skill. I've seen it performed by several gymnasts over the years, but so risky, so many of them take it out of their routines. Kochetkova earlier on had it from the Arab Spring. Double back piked, well done Piskun. A real force to be reckoned with. Perhaps not the most charismatic performer, lacking a little perhaps in personality, but in gymnastics skills she's not short.
7th position a year ago, so no stranger to world-class performances and competition. Just 16 years of age from Bobruisk in Bielorussia.
Talking about personality, there's that flick, full twisting, pucked back. Nadia Comaneci was very, very po-faced. And just look at the efficient, personable young lady now. So it's obvious that gymnastics has stood her in great stead.
Shannon Miller is still on target with one final piece of apparatus to bring this all-around competition to a close. Yelena Puskin gets herself into the top 10, goes into 8th position, nearly got bumped completely over there. As we now take a look back at some of the action that we were unable to show you, one of those important, 3rd position, Kochekova.
Not a 10 tariff vault, 9-9 handspring, 1.5 somersault forwards with the half twist. But Kochetkova, a very exciting gymnast. And I must confess that I like the type of gymnastics that she produces. 9.725, not enough to keep her in that 3rd position, down in 4th.
And Kochetkova, well, snapping on the heels of a trio of competitors all looking to vie. Well, now we see Dominique Dawes and Shannon Miller in joint 1st position, but it was the 4th rotation that was a disaster for Dominique Dawes, and she'll be lucky to hold on to that top position after this last rotation. Milicevic, well, she's waiting in the wings for a possible silver or bronze medal, as is Kochetkova. Gojin, she looked a lot stronger a year ago when she claimed the silver medal, and right the way down to around about 10th position, Mo Huilen has an opportunity of something special and a medal. Another short commercial break, a finale to come, and of course the medal decisions from Brisbane in Australia.
First on beam. Now, if you recall, she was up last on beam in 93, where she had to stay on and she had to produce to win. Miller is still an unknown quantity to Milicevic. And so Milicevic now first up on beam, the beginning of the rotation, and I don't believe this is her best position. Oof. She is nervous. And I believe if she was last up in the group, she'd have never made that wobble, because she goes in for the kill when she's really under pressure. Well, that might be the only one, but it was a bigger wobble than we saw ever from Miller. She's got quite a way to go yet. Tuck jump. And that's the Miller flick to handstand. Change leg split. Jump. She's just got to keep her mind on her job. Again, same move, but in different combination, like Miller. Had it in the routine twice. And now up to the dismount. And the landing and the shape in the air is crucial. Double tuck. Right, jump back. Okay, let's make a direct comparison between the two. Miller had a full-in back-out dismount. Miller's technique on a flick's not quite so good. Milicevic had a larger wobble, and she knows it. So now Miller is standing in the wings. She knows what she's got to do. She's got to land vault still, and that is what Milicevic can do and did do on one of the vaults. So I think that Miller's got the edge at this point in time.
Lavinia Milicevic also knows that her teammate Gina Gojin was the top scorer after Subdivision B. Now, this is a very interesting scoring indeed. She's had possibly the most difficult draw of any of the favourites in this all-around competition, and having to go first on the beam in rotation 4 really did add to the pressure on the Olympic bronze medalist in the all-around competition. We'll return to Milicevic as soon as the judges are ready with that score. Now the vault, Virginia. Caranzo of Greece.
Take a look at it in slow motion, and waiting to go immediately after Caranzo will be Miller. Ooh, a very large step forwards on that handspring front 1.5 piked. And this the slow motion. You can tell by the suddenness of the knee bend that the landing hasn't been well anticipated, and this is the problem with a blind landing. But putting a half twist on the end of that 1.5 somersault is quite hard, because although the landing is sighted, the ankles are much more suspect to injury on a backward rotating landing from vault than a front rotating landing. 9.512. Good score for 9.8 Terrace vault. And she certainly does give it everything. Absolutely massive effort there from Virginia.
Well, the coach can do nothing but smile, not only with Virginia's performance, but also the whole Greek team's performance. They really have enjoyed themselves here in Brisbane, and the results also have a lot to do with those smiles and enjoyment of this World Championship competition. Just look at the concentration upon the 15-year-old's face there. Well, we'll await the scores, 2 very important scores. Lavinia Milicevic, we will hopefully switch back to find out her beam scoring and see her position, because next up on the vault will be Shannon Miller. As Caranzo, well, 10th position, 38.068, and a great day's work for the youngster from Greece. Shannon Miller, 1993 world all-around champion. Her 4th and final piece of apparatus, the vault, and this for her 2nd successive gold in World Championship competition. This is vital.
Well, Steve Nunno shouts yes. What she did off the top of the horse was so much better than she normally does, but she really could do with a better landing. She needs to keep long. She came off the top and just slightly over dished, but she went up like a rocket. Lovely shape, but a slight pike in that after flight and the jump forward. But Milicevic
going into first position, 9.812. 39.236. Now Shannon Miller will have seen that scoring. With a 2nd vault to come, it adds pressure. The 17-year-old rehearsing mentally every twist and turn throughout this 2nd vault. It's vital. Milicevic has gone into the gold medal position, and Shannon Miller now literally vaulting for the all-around World Championship of 94.
stick. It was better, yes. Steve Nunno waves his arms, but is it good enough? Lavinia Milicevic really had a quite generous mark on the beam, and she looked very stressed before that 2nd vault, but she did everything possible. And I think that second vault might just have been enough, but just by the skin of her teeth, Nick.
Well, Steve Nuno's giving her every bit of encouragement that he possibly can, and it really is in the hands of the judges. The balance will be so fine as once again the pressure starts to show. It's all there in the vault, but the landing, like teammate Dominique Dawes, is a little weak. She holds a much stronger finish to her 2 vaults than teammate Dawes, who blew her chances of a World Championship gold medal. The overhead camera shows quite clearly it's a severe step forward, and it's one that the judges will evaluate very carefully indeed before awarding the score.
That's true, but the work off the top of the horse, although the same with...
It's there. Sorry to interrupt, but it is there. And Shannon Miller, it seems now, bar something sensational from the last few competitors, has successfully defended her World All-Around Championship title, becomes the first gymnast in American history to do so, and, well, not 1 ounce of emotion from Milicevic. She'll wait very patiently to see whether she has done enough to claim the silver medal, and possibly now the tears will come, and Milicevic goes into 2nd position as her score is shown for a 2nd time. She's facing the silver medal, and the competition for the silver and bronze is by no means over.
No, it isn't, but that's not what Milicevic was after. Milicevic was after that gold. The gold is the sweetest taste of all, and that's what she wanted. And really, Milicevic can't grumble. She really can't, not at her beam score of 9.837. And there, Steve Nuno and Shannon Miller, the team to produce the world champion 93 and 94.
Well, it's not the first ever double in gymnastic history, but before this competition, well, Shannon Miller was the most successful American gymnast of all time, and she becomes the first American to pick up a double all-around world championship title, and she really has stemmed off an amazing challenge from Lavinia Milicevic, and they really have battled it out together throughout their careers. They fought it out for the silver medal in the Barcelona Olympic Games, and this time they were battling over gold, and the American has once again got the better over the Romanian. It's not over at all, as this youngster on the asymmetric bars, Dina Kochetkova for Russia, still has an opportunity of stealing that silver medal away from Milicevic or securing the bronze.
Beautiful work, that an original combination. The Shapaznikova to front uprise clear circle. And deserving of a medal, absolutely superb asymmetric bar work. Absolutely superb.
Well, this youngster from Russia impressed us greatly in the qualification for the individual apparatus, and we'll see her again at the weekend for those finals and medals to be awarded. But this is yet another score that Lavinia Milicevic will have to watch, because Kochetkova could steal the silver medal away from the Romanian number 1.
Let's hope we see this new combination. No, too late. That's the double layout dismount. Interesting to see the rapport between Kochetkova and Arkeyev, because Arkeyev, a daunting figure, dominant man, but Kochetkova seems to be quite a voice in the partnership.
And it's very pleasing to see, and possibly a sign of the times, as many gymnast and coach relationship change, and she's on track for bronze medal. Kochetkova, Russian, at just 14 years of age, in her first major world championship, has looked very close to claiming bronze. There's 1 or 2 that still could upset it, but right now we see the United States of America, Romania and Russia in the medal positions of this women's all-around competition. And good to see Chukina there, giving congratulations to her teammate.
And now a moment I've been waiting for, and I suspect many of the crowd. This Mo Huilan could produce a sensational bar routine. She's not in with a chance of a medal, but just look at some of this splendid work. Sit back and watch it.
Well, a very high scored award from the judges could put Mo Huilan. She just scrapes and gets hold of the bar there. So close to her second fall of the competition in this apparatus.
They could take off a couple of tenths for that knee bend because, but I think they've got to allow for the difficulty of the exercise, and the knee bend didn't actually assist her to achieve the skill. Just lost her back tension and had the legs straddled. But 2 scores to remember on bars for when it comes to the individual apparatus final on the asymmetric bars, because that is going to be a torturous competition from beginning to end.
Well, Mo Huilan goes into 7th position and scores 9.9, the highest score awarded throughout this all-around competition, and she'll probably go home tonight and say, only if the other three were a little better. Well, Lysenko, 9.450 on her first vault. A sad story, but Tatiana really has been struggling in the 3 apparatus leading up to her finale in the vault.
Just a little bit out of touch on the fitness side to produce the double twisting Yurchenko to any better standard. But, you know, it's a 10 tariff vault. And it really is so difficult when you've got that little bit extra weight and that little bit extra height to cope with. Gymnastics for the taller girls is very difficult, and I just hope that the code of points doesn't advance to such a state that it becomes prohibitive to the taller gymnast. 16th, total of 37.862, and personally very, very disappointed. And I'm sure a lot of her fans will be disappointed for her. Jelena Piskun, somebody who we are going to see a lot of in the future, undisputedly a great gymnast. To finish her competition on 4th on floor.
Well, the look of concentration is understandable because Jelena also looking to improve her overall ranking. A slim chance of a bronze medal, needs something exceptional. But as Monica has pointed out, the overall results of this competition will also stand as the world rankings, and a lot of invitational competitions, sponsorship, and of course personal glory at stake. And so Jelena will be certainly battling right until the end of this floor return, bringing her day's work to a close.
Yeah, the financial rewards in sport are great these days, and they might not be money in the back pocket, but it's money for training and money for the savings bank. So they might miss out on their youth in some way, but when they do retire, they've got a bit of money to spend. Full twisting, double back. Piece of music suiting her physique and her body type, her body movement. Overbalanced on the double spin there. See more of Piskun in the individual apparatus. Two and a half twist. The minimum time of a floor routine is 1 minute and 10 seconds. And the maximum 1:30. Handspring, fly spring, 1.5 twisting front. Superb tumbling, not in the very top league, but a brilliant gymnast, and a lot of these gymnasts are in trying to prove that they will be a good team member for their nation for the forthcoming World Championships in Dortmund at the end of the year.
And of course, that's just one of many of the major championships we'll be bringing to you live on Eurosport throughout the summer, as we'll be following Jelena, Shannon Miller and all the world's elite through the European Championships and the World Team Finals. Pisquin, who came in 7th position in last year's all-around competition, she's had a brave day today, but she really has been, well, outperformed by the likes of Shannon Miller, Milicevic, and she will wait patiently now to see if she has improved her world ranking and can possibly move into that magic elite, that top band of the world's best 5 gymnasts. She waits very patiently. She's the last performer in the floor competition, and 10th drops down 9.650, not as good as a year ago. Well, bringing the competition to a close from the floor is Martina Kurachikova of Slovakia.
And that is something she can't afford to do. She's got heavily strapped ankles, and therefore the risk on a multiple twisting somersault that she perhaps isn't handling in training is a little bit dangerous. Really weak on the feet in this routine. Several stutters. She's out of time with the music. She's arrived in that corner far too early and didn't have the common sense to improvise and try and disguise it. Overawed a little bit by the situation. You can tell that she's lost the enthusiasm for the exercise. She's having to think too much. She's not in automatic gear of expressing what she's doing. Dwelling rather too much on the error. Double twist to finish. And a very unfortunate start, and she really never came to terms with having had a mistake. Didn't recover well at all.
Well, first, Shannon Miller, total 39.274, and she extends not only on her accolade of world titles and medals, but also a personal best for her in amassed point score for the four apparatus. Silver medal, Lavinia Milicevic. Well, she's settled for second best now in 2 major competitions behind Shannon Miller, and a very sad Milicevic as we wait for the results of 3rd place, and it should be confirmed. Bronze medal, Dina Kochetkova for Russia, 3rd position, but Shannon Miller joins a very elite group of gymnasts and athletes as a double world champion. Monica, a last moment, a last word or two.
It was a brilliant competition, and congratulations to all of the girls, and I'm sad that Milicevic couldn't be as gracious in defeat as that she can be in victory. But nevertheless, a brilliant championship, and all the gymnasts did excellently. Lovely to see Kochetkova come in. I think that she was tagged for bronze, and she fulfilled the ambition of Arkiev.
2 established names claiming gold and silver. Shannon Miller and Lavinia Milicevic, and Kochetkova, well, bringing the names of the future and the stars of the future, keeping the flag flying for the youngsters in the sport of gymnastics. Gosian, silver a year ago, 4th in '94. Dominique Dawes, well, it could have been a different story if her vaults had been a little stronger. And Podkopaeva, another new name and a youngster, making her mark on world gymnastics, going into 5th position. Molnar there for Hungary, ending up down in 3rd position. Karanzo for Greece, 15th place, and what a marvelous performance for her. Lysenko very disappointed with her result in 18th position. The best of the Germans, Stratman in 19th position, and working our way down, the 2 Spanish girls in 27th and 28th spot. Baglietti of Argentina, a very pleasing result for her, in 31st position. Well, that just about brings us to the end of our broadcast of the all-around competition competition from Brisbane in Queensland, Australia. Shannon Miller is the world champion in the all-around for 1994. There are another 2 days of artistic gymnastics to come on Eurosport, as this coming weekend, live at 11:30 a.m. on Saturday and 10 a.m. on Sunday, we will be back with the individual apparatus and a possible opportunity for Lavinia Milicevic to take sweet revenge on Shannon Miller. And also the men will be back in action, and the all-around champion of 1994 in the men's competition at just 19 years of age, Ivan Ivankov, will be back for the first time, mixing it with the big boys. From Nick Fellows and Monica Phelps, goodbye for now.